Spag bowl. This is probably the most popular dish I have ever seen. Do you know anyone who doesn't eat spag bowl meal?
Your mum.
That's a lie. First thing we gotta do is start browning the beef. So this is probably the most important stage, is to brown it. You don't want it to boil, you want caramelization. That's gonna really bring out a lot of flavor towards the end. So whilst this is in the pan, we're gonna start cutting our veg. So these three ingredients, or let's say four: beef, onions, carrots, celery, always in a bolognese.
Are they though, Floyd? I have never seen carrots and celery in a bolognese.
You? What are you talking about, Neil?
Is that
you
traditional?
have a tiny penis.
Is that traditional?
It is. Actually, very traditional. Maybe I could give some background on bolognese. So bolognese is actually from Rome, and
Back around, boy.
it's not actually traditionally beef. It's actually a ragu, and it used to be a food that they'd feed the army. So it would be any sort of meat that they could find: pork, lamb, beef, and they'd mince it all up, and they'd make a ragu with the tomato and all of that shit. Whatever they could find, and that's how it originated.
How do you know that? How do you know that? Don't you a meal and a meal? And there you give me food facts.
That's general knowledge of in here, you know? Well, it's smelling mighty fine.
Spaghetti bolognese originated in Rome, huh?
It did.
You know what else originated in Rome?
No. Spartacus! Originally a Thracian. You Roman cunt! I am Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
No, I am Spartacus! This is the colour you want, really. You don't want to go too dark, because then the meat will have no moisture left in it. But you want to go dark.
Why do you want to go dark?
The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Nailed it.
Beef into a colander. That's just to strain off any excess fat. Pan, back, on, oil, in.
Who are you, Gordon?
That's some Gordon shit right there.
That was pretty Gordon-y.
Sofrito, in, pan, stir.
You haven't got the crouch going on.
Gordon always does his little crouch. He goes over the food like this.
Oh yes, and it's very sexy, sweet, you know. It brings out the aromas. It brings out the aromas.
Alright, so we've got a little bit of a sweat going on with the veg. It's time to hit it with some garlic. We don't like garlic. The first one, dried oregano. Nice little bit of thyme.
You sure you got time for that, mate?
A little bit of rosa.
Can't think of a pun, look at him. He can't think of one. He can't even use time, the easier.
Meat going back in. One bay leaf. Now here's the thing about bay leaf, right, is that fresh bay leaf tastes way better. It's something you can't get in Korea. But if you got fresh, use like 2 or 3. Incredible flavour. If it's dried, it's a lot more stronger. And if you use too much, it makes it bitter. So just use 1. Fresh bay leaves are better. Tomato paste. I was actually told this by a really good Italian chef to use tomato paste instead of tinned tomatoes or fresh tomatoes, just because it's a lot more deeper and richer of a flavour.
Yeah,
Don't act like you know.
I agree with that completely. I've always thought the same thing. But one thing, I do usually put in my tomato paste after the wine. But this is interesting.
It cooks it out better. It's kind of like the difference between frying something and boiling it. If you put it in water, boil it. But you want to like fry it now.
Okay.
A little bit of sally, a little bit of pepper. Now that's the noise you want to be hearing, man. That sizzle.
Non-stick pan, you need that non-stick pan for this.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't have a non-stick pan, you probably don't have a car. We're gonna hit it up with some tomatoes. So this, you may be thinking, these tomatoes contradicted what I said about the puree. It's just a small amount to give like a really fresh flavour.
Oh, why now?
You know what they say? The more wine, the more fine.
Oh, they also say, was that too much wine? Nah, Why not?
You go to fucking bars college or some shit.
Puns, mate. Puns. Highest form of intelligence.
Let the wine breathe, put it on the simmer, and then put a lid on it, and you're just gonna leave it to simmer for about an hour. Been about an hour now, simmering away. So right now, I'm just gonna reduce this down till it's at the thickness. Because it's all about the thickness.
What do you know about thickness?
Finishing herbs, of course, basil and some parsley. So just roll them up together like a little burrito. Water's boiling, so balsamic vinegar. Okay, so I was supposed to finish it with a little bit of cocoa powder, but apparently there's no cocoa powder in the house, so I'm gonna put in the recipe below. Just put half a tablespoon in at the end. It makes all the difference. Olive oil. Herbs. Thickness, girthness.
Italiano.
Best way to tell if pasta's cooked, you just eat it.
Yep. I knew that.
That's how it's done, by the way. But that's not what I'm going for. Couple of fresh basil leaves. Just around the outside. Some parmesan. Just put a couple of little shavings here and there. It's so rich. Wow. So much flavour, man.
And you've used most of the same ingredients that I'd use generally, apart from celery, carrot. But it tastes like a completely different dish. That is fantastic.
A lot of cooking is the method. Amazing.
That is lovely.
I am Spartacus!